Okay, here's one of the questions is names before, so we'll keep it all confidential. But somebody the question is, I trade strictly out of my IRA full time as the bulk of my money is in that account. Is it better to open a separate trading account or pay the IRA early withdrawal penalty regarding taxes? What I will tell you is that you're going to have a hard time claiming trader tax status if you only trade out of an IRA, and for the reason being is that you've got no income. You've got no income or losses that you've gotten there because it all contains in your IRA unless you do pull it out. So you're going to have a tough time with that. I would say, have an outside account beyond that so you can use that to qualify for trader tax status. I'm not saying you can't trade your IRA because that's what I trade. But what I'm saying is it's going to be difficult to get trader tax status, next to impossible, in fact, to get trader tax status with that IRA as your only trading vehicle. So definitely have an account outside of that. And then does it make more sense to do that, to pull money out and pay the penalty regarding taxes? Again, that's going to be an individual situation. That's something that I'd be happy, if you want to email me that, I'd be happy to look at your individual situation on that and see if it makes sense or not, because there's a lot of things that you have to look at with that. Could you use feasibly two different accounts within the same brokerage versus a different broker for each, futures for securities for the different claims advantage? Thanks. Yes. So I use interactive brokers. I'm not endorsing them. I moved over there. I was at Thinkorswim and just had too many problems with Thinkorswim. But I think if you look at it from that standpoint, absolutely, you can use the same brokerage. Just have the accounts titled differently. If you incorporated and you wanted to maintain a separate account to put long-term positions in. But if you didn't want to do that, and let's say you wanted to keep your future business separate, yeah, open up two different accounts through that broker dealer. Just tell them what you're doing, but you can have two different accounts at the same broker dealer. That's not going to be an issue. Is it legal to day trade an IRA? Yeah, you don't have any problems day trading your IRA. There are certain restrictions on what you can invest in, but for the most part, the broker dealers that you'll find out there will let you do what's allowable in your IRA. So I know at Interactive you can do futures and options and stocks in your IRA, but you can't short and do other things like that. Just trying to find these questions that I can answer real quick.
Sure.
Okay, I have a partnership as a trading entity with a mark-to-market election. That's terrific. I mostly trade equities, but also plan to trade futures in the future. Say that 3 times fast. Should I then not trade futures under this entity from a tax perspective? What I would tell you is to open up a separate account for the future business, because what's going to happen, actually, you're taxed under that partnership, and I'm assuming you elected mark-to-market taxation under that partnership. So if you bring in another business underneath mark-to-market, you're going to have to, I would probably say, either refile another form to explain that you're going to tax those differently, that you're keeping those out of the mark-to-market election, or just to be on the safe side, just open up a separate account for those future business. That way you shouldn't have any issue with it. Equity options, how are they taxed? Equity options are going to be taxed like securities. Capital gains, capital losses, unless you took the mark-to-market accounting. Got a lot of great warm-up acts, JT. The slides were insane. Here's a good question. Does filing trader tax status increase your risk of an audit? No, it doesn't. As long, and you really shouldn't worry about that if you do everything on the properly. You're not going to have to worry about getting audited, because if you do, you've got everything substantiated. But filing trader tax status, where it could get into an audit situation is having a lot of income or a lot of losses with no income on your Schedule C. Because understand, if you don't elect mark-to-market accounting, your gains and losses, or capital gains, capital losses from your trading business is going to be on a Schedule D, and then you're going to have all of your losses on a Schedule C. So you're going to be submitting a Schedule C with all of these losses and expenses on it, not losses from your trading business, but expenses, and then your income is going to be on a separate form, and so again, that could create a situation where they might look at that in a little different light. But that's where if that's a concern of yours, then you may consider going the entity route, which I talked about. Your audit chances are a lot less if you file under an S corp or a LLC or a partnership even. Do you have to make an election to be qualified as a trader? No. I said there was no special election. You don't. So to claim trader tax status, you just got to meet those things that they look at prior that I put up there on the slides. But you don't have to make a formal election to qualify for trader tax status. You will have to make a formal election if you want mark-to-market accounting, which was covered in the slides. Can you trade in a Roth IRA and put expenses on a Schedule C? No. Trading inside of an IRA, you're going to be taxed as an investor, and you're not going to qualify. So if you want those expenses, I would do what you could to open up an outside account outside of an IRA to trade.
Question about SSFs, single stock futures. I just didn't know how to put my question because I usually read them out. I don't know how to put them in. I actually haven't had that issue with GoToWebinar, so I think maybe I've chatted to you privately. It was SSF, single stock futures. I don't know if you've dealt with it or not. That's kind of a little bit sophisticated game the larger players play in security lending and security borrowing.
I haven't dealt with those individually.
Understood. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just wanted to know if you had any experience with it or not. That's all. Yeah, and if you
I haven't had any experience with it, okay. But the IRS considers single stock futures to be securities futures contracts. So they're going to be taxed like their underlying securities, stock options and narrow-based indexes, and they won't be taxed like commodities or futures or Forex.
That's probably why the volume has not picked up then.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
you're going to be taxed as so if it's a single stock future, it'd be taxed as the stock would.
Gotcha. Thank you.
At some point, would you go over the best way to find a tax professional who's experienced in tax preps and traders? You're talking to one. just email me. Any issues with being a trader and also having other businesses or business interests such as consult, appraiser, etc., as long as you meet the test requirements for being a trader? No, there's no other issues with that. You can have as many businesses as you want to, as long as they're separate and segregated from your trading business. Yeah, you can have other businesses, and as long as you're meeting the other requirements and tests, as I talked about in there. The key thing is to document that stuff. I can't stress how important that is. If you remember that Paoli case, he lost the case because he did no trading towards the later part of the year, but had he documented that he was, reviewing stock charts or analyzing the markets, et cetera, then he would have won his case. So they definitely document that stuff, keep the journals and stuff like that. I think that's all the questions, Fari. That's all that I see. And
okay.
If I did not answer your question or you have any further questions, just email me.
I have
my taxes.
I have a quick one for you. It doesn't necessarily apply to me, but in general, for the trader status, if somebody is hedging, is the hedge counts as second trade, or is it a single trade that is hedging?
For trader status,
for the number of the counts, you remember the count you're asking? Let's say 500 trades a year. That means 250 trading days approximately. Let's say 2 trades a day. But if somebody is hedging, would that qualify, or would that be long one, short another? Was the short one count as a separate trade, or is it one hedge?
Yeah, it counts as a separate trade.
Okay, so they haven't gotten that sophisticated. Awesome.
It counts as a separate trade. So like I know in HFT that you sometimes go opposite with the NQs.
Right, I have to.
Your ES positions.
When I'm confused, Gotcha.
Yeah, those count as separate trades.
I mean, because the number we trade already qualifies as trader status, so that's never come up. My issue was if somebody trades less but's hedging, how the IRS looks into that. But what you're telling me is that the government system is such that they haven't gotten that sophisticated yet. So
they haven't gotten that sophisticated yet. No, they look at each individual trade, and as long as you're meeting the numbers, And again, I talked earlier, but they don't really give you. It'd be great if they came out and said, "Hey, you got to have this many trades for the year to qualify as trader tax status." They don't. They just give you general guidelines. And what you'll find when in reviewing trader tax cases is that generally north of 500 trades, you know, you're generally pretty safe on qualifying for trader tax status.
Sure.
I think Jennifer asked a question about mark to market for E-mini futures, and I think I saw maybe that wasn't Jennifer, but yeah, that was answered in the presentation. If you're a profitable trader on future contracts, it's not beneficial to take mark to market because you've got the preferable 60-40 tax rates on E-minis. If you elect mark to market, then you're going to be taxed ordinary income rates, and currently it's a 12% difference from the 60-40 split to current income level. So that's quite a bump up in your tax rates that you're going to pay for that privilege.
Okay, let me open up questions, see if there's any other questions that we have not answered. Folks, I've opened the posting of questions. Any last-minute questions for Steve? Of course, we don't want to keep him too long, but remember, he's on a different time zone, an hour ahead of us. There we go. A couple more questions coming in. All right. Okay. All right. There you go. Okay. All right. Why don't we'll close it here? I think there are 3 new questions there for you. And there's a question about whether the session is going to be recorded. We always record. Pt.3 always record all of our webinars, and they're going to be posted on the page that you're looking at. And simply, where you see right now register, that word becomes download. And we'll also tweet it that it's ready to be downloaded, which is about 45 minutes from now.
Let's see, one question looks like a new one that came in. Are you required to itemize trades on your return? In a way you will. It won't actually be on your tax forms, but you'll list total volumes of trades. So in other words, if the total volume of your trades was you know, $1 million in buys, and that's your total volume for the year as buys, and $800,000 in sells, then you're going to have a $200,000 gain. That's generally what's going to show up on your tax forms. But you would support that with the documentation of your trades. Could be on an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. That's just your backup documentation. You don't need to send that in with your tax forms. So hopefully that answers that question. Was there any other questions for? I didn't see any other ones. Any new ones? Oh, here's another one. 807. Does an LLC cause you to pay a minimum tax, specifically for California? That's a great question. Some states do have minimum franchise taxes. I'm not sure about California. I'd be happy to research that for you. If you want to email me that question, I'll look it up for you. But yes, some states do require minimum franchise taxes, and it's generally over a certain income level in that business. Then you have to pay a fee to the state. Some states are not like that at all. Some states have no limitations like that. So I can research California, and if you want to email me that question, I'd be happy to do that and get back to you. Now, does the wash sale rule apply to options trading? That's the other question. If you elect trader status and go with the mark-to-market accounting in your business, then you're not subject to wash sale rules, so you don't have to worry about that. So hopefully that answers that question there.
I think.
Any others sneak in there, Fari?
ETF trading from Marge Brokaw at 7:07. That's Chicago time. Would be 8:07 on your screen. What about EF trading? ETF.
ETF, yes. ETF trading, yeah, ETFs are going to be taxed as securities. So with ETFs, you can qualify for trader tax status if you meet the other requirements I talked about, and you can actually elect mark-to-market accounting on your ETF trading as well. Otherwise, just qualifying for trader tax status by meeting the other requirements, you get taxed as capital gains, capital losses, and subject to the limitations of those taxes. So hopefully that you're not. It's just like trading an individual stock, if you will.
You had also a question about from a gentleman who did not give his first name and last name. which is broken one of our rules, but we're going to read it. For a question for you, Steve, it's how much for the entity formation service? That's, I don't know if you answered. Did you answer that?
Yeah, I did not. I didn't see that one. And
Okay.
somebody else had a question about where am I located. I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Right.
And entity formation, on my website, the entity formation basic service starts at, I believe, $349, $349 for entity. For incorporation services, and that includes everything that you need to get incorporated. And then there's a deluxe version if you wanted to get additional services or additional things for there. But that's for the state of Florida. It could vary from your state. If you go to my website, if you actually go to my website underneath our services and business services, you'll see Incorporate Online, and if you click there, you can actually get a free quote. It'll give you a quote for your particular state to incorporate.
And there's also a question on Forex. I'm not sure you saw that or not, from Johnny IZ in our chat room. Forex tax if the company's outside the U.S.?
Email me that one, and I'll get you the answer. I haven't dealt with that outside of the U.S., but if he's still on, if he wants to email me, I'll get the right answer for that one.
Yeah, his IZ, you see him in the chat room too. Good trader.
Okay, IZ. Okay.
Yeah.
IZ. I'll get the right answer for you, and I can get it actually in HFT for you.
Okay, folks, thank you very, very much. I know Steve's tired. Steve, thank you. This was very, very professional. I got a number of attaboys I see on the question section for you, especially from Ross and others. Folks, we'll be closing this webinar shortly. It'll be posted within 30 minutes or so, and we'll also link it on Twitter, which is at Hamzy Analytics, and also at Market Heist. Jeffrey, thank you for setting this up. Again, Steve, we're all indebted to you. Great timing and great presentation.
Thank you, Fari, and thanks again for hosting this event. It was terrific.